Alright guys, today I'm going over 10 of our favourite things to do in Tasmania, and I think you should check them out too. The first and the coolest thing I think you should keep an eye out for is the wildlife. We actually were super lucky. We got to see this Tasmanian devil at Baker's Beach campground. It's about an hour away from Devonport. They were doing some tagging. We actually got to name this guy. His name is Severus, and oh my god, he's super cute. Also keep an eye out for some echidnas. We saw this little guy at Cradle Mountain just wandering past the visitor centre, and same with this guy, this wombat. He was right outside the Peppers Resort at Cradle Mountain. We also went up a bit further north to Penguin and saw some penguins and some black cockatoos. The second thing I think you should do when you go to Tasmania is go and do the Cape Raoul hike. It's awesome. Definitely one of my favourite things to do in Tasmania, and I'd love to go back. Third thing, go see some sea sparkle. You can do this by heading down to the wharf in Hobart. Depending on the direction of the breeze, if the breeze is coming from the east, most of the sea sparkle will be on the west side of the bay, and vice versa. This is actually at Sandy Bay, and that's probably our favourite place to see it. We've seen it there twice on 2 separate occasions, so that's our go-to. If you haven't seen it before, it's magic, man. Take a water bottle with you, fill it up with the ocean water, and just sprinkle that around, and it'll just light up. It's honestly one of the most beautiful things to do in Tasmania. Another thing that I recommend you do is the Cape Howie hike. This one's only about a 4 or 5 hour hike. You get to risk your life by standing on the edge of a cliff at the end of it, which is pretty sketchy, but also super cool. This next one, the West Coast Wilderness Railway. Everybody who goes to Tasmania has to do this. It is by far one of the coolest experiences I've done in the whole country. Check it out, it's like freaking Harry Potter. It's a little expensive, but definitely worth it. Definitely recommend that. Another thing I think you should do is probably head over to Cradle Mountain. This hike in particular is the Marian's Lookout via Wombat Pool and Dove Lake. So this hike took us about 4 hours to do, and we got a spectacular day. It was clear weather. It did get a bit cloudy in the afternoon, but my gosh, it's the most beautiful sight of Cradle Mountain that I've ever had in my life. And if you're lucky enough to get there on a clear day, I highly recommend going. It costs about $15 for a 2 or 3 day bus pass to get up and down the mountain, and the caravan park there is a little bit expensive, but pro tip, just do some camping in the visitor car park. We stayed there a couple of times ourselves for free. There's nobody there after 5 to check it out, and I mean, we got away with it a couple of times, and you might too. The next thing to do, I think, would be to head down to the Mole Creek Caves, to the Marakoopa and King Solomon's Cave. These things are freaking cool, man. Definitely awesome. There is another cave down south of Hobart, which we've been to as well, and if you're going to Hobart, don't make the trek up north, just go to the one down there. The next hike I think you should do is the Mount Amos summit in Coles Bay. This place is definitely the most challenging hike that we have encountered in Tasmania.
This hike is actually terrifying. This is the scariest hike I've ever done. There's literally like rock climbing involved, but seems like it might be getting better.
There are plenty of hikes, like I think there's 60 short walks that you can do, and you can buy a booklet of that on the Spirit of Tasmania or at any of the park's offices. You can study that, and they've also got it on their website, but Mount Amos summit was really cool, and definitely the best view of Wineglass Bay. Another thing to do in Hobart is to head up the top of Mount Wellington to the lookout up there. You can drive all the way up to the top, park your car, and then just head up to the summit. It's like a 20-meter walk. The views are spectacular. You can see all the way out to Tasman Peninsula. You can see Bruny Island and all the rest of that, so it's definitely worth the trip up. The last place I think that you should check out is Oatlands. This place is a convict village, or it was built by convicts at least, and it's just cool. Super cool. It's kind of like Salamanca in Hobart, but a country version of that. If you like this sort of content, leave us a like. Thanks for making it all the way to the end, and enjoy your trip in Tasmania. Bye.